Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the all-new GX12 transmitter from Radiomaster. This isn't just another new transmitter from Radiomaster with the usual gubbins inside transferred to a different form factor. It's a departure from a couple of things. The first one being the 1 watt Express LRS internal module with cooling fan. It's using a new chip called the LR1121, catchy name, which is the same one that they used in their Nomad module, and it can transmit on both 2.4 GHz and the lower bands of 868 and 900 MHz without needing two separate modules. Or you can make use of the redundancy feature where it transmits on both 2.4 and 868 or 900 at the same time to get the best link quality. But at the making of this video, there's only one receiver you can do that with, which is Radiomaster's DBR4, and it has 4 antennas, which is not convenient for mounting on your drone. I find it interesting that ELRS has gone down this path because FrSky did it years ago and everyone in the community rubbished it. But I think that's more to do with FrSky massively bodging their 900 and 868 long range system originally, and of course locking it up so it wasn't open source. Whereas Express LRS is essentially the open source version of that anyway. For me personally, I just want something simple, and luckily all legacy Express LRS receivers will work with this new chip. You'll just have to update them and navigate the correct options in the now more confusing menu. Also, if you want to use the lower band option in the UK, you're going to want to make sure that you set the region to 868 MHz in the Express LRS configurator, as 900 MHz will get a ton of interference from cell towers and it's not legal to use in the UK anyway. The next departure is their new CNC GX01 foldable 3D digital Hall effect gimbals, which is a mouthful for me to say. But the way they differ from, say, the AG01 gimbals is that they interface to the main board digitally rather than an analog signal, which means they can sync the sample rate of the gimbal to the RF hertz set in the Express LRS settings. They're calling that Edge TX Sync, and it's up to 1000 Hz. And that is something that is new in Edge TX specifically to this radio. What does this all mean? Well, more accuracy and lower latency from the stick input out to whatever packet rate you have set up in the Express LRS menus. The downside of all this is because it interfaces with the main board differently, these gimbals are not compatible with any of their legacy transmitters. So for now, this is the only radio that supports these gimbals. They're also not full size either, and for me, the shorter throw gives an effect of increasing your rates, which doesn't suit me at all. However, if you are a Zorro user, you will be very used to that. You can limit the throw even more by adjusting the screws on the gimbal itself. The grip of the transmitter is much wider than the Zorro. It's actually a little bit wider than the Boxer. So it's a completely different feel to anything else that you would have to get used to, or you actually might find them more comfortable. It's something you need to try for yourself. It kind of looks like a mini FrSky / Jetty transmitter. I think that is the look they were going for. As a Mode 1 pilot, I'm happy that you can just remove the rubber grips and swap the sticks over. I do find that the throttle is very loose out of the box, but you can adjust the tension of the throttle stick. Again, that is just a personal preference. In the briefing, the marketing material of this transmitter says that it is aimed towards drones and FPV, but it's actually fully functional for fixed wing with full trims, potentiometers, and an array of different switches and buttons. I'm not a fan of these single press momentary style buttons. However, you can customize them with these included shoulder covers and switches. You can also program different colors to these mode buttons if you want to as well. It comes flash with Edge TX, of course, and the screen is monochrome, but it's an OLED, so everything is nice and clear. It's quite a weighty transmitter with the batteries in, despite its size. It's not too heavy, but there is a lanyard hook in case you need one. They supply an 18650 case, but you will need to supply your own batteries yourself. Unfortunately, the 5000 mAh GMB battery from my Boxer and TX16 radio won't fit. The single USB port now does everything, so the connection to your computer, as well as an internal balance charge circuit. Personally, I prefer to charge the batteries separately, as there are some limitations onto what battery type you can charge with it, such as LiFe's. They have also done away with an SD card for the Edge TX contents. That's now a built-in 512 megabyte internal storage. Hopefully that will be enough space for any future Edge TX updates. A couple of other fine details. The folding antennas on the transmitter are dual band. This means that while they are both capable of 2.4 GHz and 868 MHz, they will not be as good as a dedicated 2.4 or 868 antenna. So there are a couple of rubber bungs on the back which fall out way too easily, by the way. And this is so you can mount your own SMA connectors to use your own antennas. However, I feel most people will just keep the dual ones for this radio due to the form factor. We have a headphone and trainer port on the top, and there's a nano module bay on the back, so while there's no 4-in-1 version of this radio, you can add one. I think the features of Express LRS are getting so crazy now that a 4-in-1 version of this radio doesn't make sense anymore, when they're developing sticks that specifically interface with Express LRS output. I have a feeling that this new chip being integrated into the transmitter is kind of an indication of what to expect from Express LRS going forward. So I think buying into this radio is future-proofing yourself on what's to come. Although, what does future-proofing mean these days? And for me personally, I like the simplicity of just transmitter and receiver and all the other modes. It's not really for me, but it's there if you want it. It's kind of like Edge TX as well. It can be confusing the way that you have to set stuff up, but you can do simple things. It just means you have to do them in a different way to, say, a Spectrum transmitter setup, which a lot of people like for its simplicity, but it's got terrible range. There's some screw threads on the bottom of the transmitter, which I think on past radios they said this was for DIY modding. Sadly, there is no wireless trainer for head tracking with this transmitter. I just have to mention it because it's the only thing missing on all Radiomaster radios, and it's something that I really want. You get a carry case with this bundle, as well as a screen protector and a USB cable, stickers, manual, etc. So what do you think? Will you buy this radio? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.